What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stand Your Ground, live on the final day of the Premier League season. I'm your host, as always, Alex Bennison. I am joined by two men that are doing double duty today, both members of the Mighty Whites podcast, Jack Robshaw and KC.
Yeah, mate, how's things?
Not too bad. It's nice, isn't it, when you come into a final day of season and your team's got nothing to play for?
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, makes life pretty easy. Could be worse. Could be a Leicester fan.
Yeah, that'll be something we'll definitely have to get onto. Although both the Premier League title was wrapped up and the relegations were, sorted, the only thing left to play for was the Champions League and the Europa League. I don't know if we'll bother with the midweek games. We'll just go into the final games of the season. So we'll start with that Leicester game. Leicester, if they get a win and the results go right in other games for them, they can secure themselves top four and an FA Cup victory this season and not bottle it like they did last year. So anyway, Tottenham 4, Leicester 2.
Yeah, not good. Rodgers. Not a good way to end. Like it's technically their second most successful season ever, and all of their fans are fuming. And I don't think they're being unreasonable. Like they got themselves into a position where they absolutely should have qualified for the top four without really any difficulty. I mean, yeah. I think I can't remember the exact stat, but it was something like out of the last, obviously we've had two lots of 38 games, and out of those 76 games, they've been in the top four for like 68 of them and not qualified for the Champions League either season. It's a really dreadful way to throw it away, and they got the luck they needed and still threw it away. Was really a really poor thing to see from them. Overall, it's still a great season. They should still be happy overall, but I can understand them being massively disappointed because it appears that they kind of did shit the bed a bit today.
Yeah, so 1-0 up after Jamie Vardy scores a penalty. Then Harry Kane gets an equaliser. Jamie Vardy in the second half gets a penalty. Then Kasper Schmeichel punches the ball into his own goal, which kind of epitomises Leicester's luck, really, doesn't it? Goes to punch it clear and somehow manages to punch it behind him.
Well, he was doing it with a bit of flair because obviously when you see players pass with the outside of the foot, they're displaying their technique, and Schmeichel was using a similar technique, just punching with the outside of his hand. And just wanted to put that look. Yeah, he just wanted to put that little bit of slice on it, just a little bit of curl.
Yeah, shades of old school Sander Westerveld for Liverpool. Just going up for it, outwards, back over yourself. It was I remember when that goal went in, I first saw the video, because obviously the game I watched in full was the Leeds game, as everyone would expect. I saw that video come up and I saw the goal, and I straight away said, if that's the goal that costs you the Champions League, you're going to be fuming. So in order to make Kasper Schmeichel feel better about himself, they made sure to concede some more goals so he didn't feel as bad.
Two goals.
I was just going to say, having supported a team that once homed Kasper Schmeichel, my first question to Jack when it happened was, did he shout at his defence when this happened? Yes, he did.
He also shouted at the referee claiming a foul. He appeared to be claiming a foul because when he messed up his punch, he punched Davinson Sanchez.
Ref, that's a penalty, surely.
He's blocked my fist.
Yeah, but to add insult to injury, 2 goals from Gareth Bale, who's recently announced that after this last year at his Real Madrid contract, he's going to retire.
Oh, has he actually announced that? I missed that. I mean, it's exactly what I expected to happen, but
playing true to him on Football Manager then.
Yeah, 33-year-old Gareth Bale retiring. Probably not playing a lot of football at Real.
I doubt he'll play much. He's retiring at 33. So, by the age of 40, Does he or does he not attempt to start a professional golf career?
Ooh, it's that or the Welsh job.
I'd argue that he's already started on his quest to become a professional golfer.
Because he plays off about 3 or 4, doesn't he? And I mean, really, to be any sort of good pro, you need to have a handicap that's you're not actually scratch. You're like 5 better than that. But the likes of Julian Dixon, Jimmy Bullard have had a decent attempt, haven't they, after their football career? So I wonder if Gareth Bale will fancy himself to be able to get down to that sort of score and have a go at playing on the Euro Pro Tour or something like that.
I mean, if it all fails, he could do tubes and start a golf channel.
Yeah, fair.
So the other game that really impacted the result from this, Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Chelsea lost and still got top 4. Yep. That's how lucky they've been. How would you have felt if you were Thomas Tuchel? You come into this side, you get to an FA Cup final or Champions League final, and you're in prime position to get Champions League football. You lose the FA Cup final, you don't get top 4, and then possibly lose the Champions League as well. Nothing like bottling it on the big occasion.
Yeah, there's some times where you get away with it. I would love to absolutely rip into Chelsea because I obviously don't like Chelsea. But, I mean, I know exactly what it's like to have your team not get the necessary result on the final day of the season and have another team mess up elsewhere to get you into the Champions League, because that's what happened to Leeds when Liverpool lost at Bradford on the final day and we only drew 1-1 at West Ham. So we have had the same thing happen to us. Over the course of a season, I genuinely think Leicester have been better, but if you don't get it done when it matters, you don't get it done. And it isn't as much as the loss today has handed it to Chelsea. For the last few weeks, they've given away too many results, and Chelsea, for the last part of the season, have been a good side.
I was really hoping that the FA Cup win would kind of lift Leicester for this finish, but yeah, they've had 2 big games and have come away with no points from them.
Yeah,
which is poor.
Yeah, one stat that I did see, which I thought was quite funny. Timo Werner scoring his 28th goal of the season, 15 of them that got ruled out.
That can't be right.
Only 15. There's got to be more
15.
than that.
Offsides and VAR, but it's including all competitions.
God, that's a ridiculous number. Mind you, though, I hadn't really paid as close attention to it until the last few games. He is rubbish at timing his runs.
He's either rubbish or lazy.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit of a second one, actually, because his problem is, quite often, the first one I remember being really good at this was Ruud van Nistelrooy. Staying offside, and just working your way back on to curl your run round and just get back on side as the ball's played. It seems like Werner tries to do that, but he never actually comes back on side. He just stays offside and doesn't work his way back. And he should be, because he's absolutely rapid. If he gives him half a yard, he'll still get there.
I mean, I found it funny watching Werner celebrate the first goal that he had disallowed in the midweek game, knowing full well that he had punched the ball into the net, basically. Like seeing a man run off and slide on his knees. I just think the ball's on you. To celebrate that is impressive.
Although, speaking of that rule, Tottenham's third goal today. The ball comes up, Harry Kane miscontrols it and just knocks the ball down with his arm. Takes 3 touches, passes it to Bale, who scores. And it doesn't get disallowed because they said, it didn't lead directly to a goal. I mean, it did lead to the goal. It absolutely did. And I don't like this. Any attacking handball is handball no matter what, whether it's intentional or not. And they're getting rid of that rule for next season because it's stupid. But it's still this season. That goal shouldn't have stood.
No. So yeah, Villa with Bertrand Traore scoring in the first half, and then El Ghazi getting a penalty in the second, and then Ben Chilwell getting a goal that actually counted this time, crossed by couple of inch.
It was a fairly decent amount over the line, wasn't it? It was visibly over.
Yeah. And then the other game that was going to be impacted by these Champions League final places, Liverpool 2, Palace 0. Palace have been a bit of a bogey team for Liverpool in the past. I mean, you think back to that season that they had Suarez up top, and they could have won the Premier League if they hadn't have started crumbling away. Palace, and then the Chelsea Gerrard slip. But Sadio Mane getting a double and getting Liverpool third, which I think that really flatters them this season.
Oh, it definitely flatters them, but back end of season, someone needed to go on a run, and they're the ones that did. And obviously, it helped that Williams and Phillips got a bit more used to playing first team football, which helped them defensively. But they were the ones that had the bottle to do it at the end. They fell away, and at the end of the season, they have played well enough to win a load of games, while every other team around them has faltered. There's Man City, basically, in the top half of the league, at the end of the season, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and Leeds are the teams that have had a good run. And the other 6 have all dropped a load of points.
Yeah.
And so Liverpool, as much as it would have been very funny for them to fall away and not be in the Champions League and stuff, they've deserved it in the end. They've pulled it back.
Yeah,
it would have been great. Oh, go on.
You've had West Ham who've been up there again for most of the season as well, who were in real danger of missing out on Europe altogether at one point with 4 or 5 games left, and they've managed to rescue that at least for them. Yeah. But yeah, between them and Leicester especially, they'll be disappointed both that they didn't finish higher.
Yeah. I mean, West Ham have hung on to 6th, but if they'd have got beat today, they would have dropped to 7th, and they'd have been in that Conference League, having looked certs for the Champions League at one point.
Yeah. It'd have been great to see Liverpool in the Conference League. Premier League champions to Conference League. So we'll move on to the next game, and a game that I'm sure both of you are quite thrilled and happy to talk about, especially seeing their fans were back in the stadium. Leeds 3, West Brom 1. Was this as dominant as a performance as you were expecting for the final game of the season?
Yeah, pretty much. West Brom aren't very good. We played this game in second gear. All we did was pass the ball to Pablo Hernandez over and over and over again and try and make it so he could score. We hit every single corner at Gaetano Berardi to see if he could score. It was very, very easy. To be honest, the game wasn't important with this. It was just Leeds fans saying bye to Hernandez and Berardi. And they got an unbelievable reception. When they both got subbed off, it was one of them that if you're the other team, you're fuming. Them hugging all 10 other players on the pitch, each of them.
And Kyle Bartley, he was going across as well.
Yeah, Kyle Bartley for West Brom, who of course played with them both at Leeds, going over to give them both a hug and congratulate them. It was a really nice moment because as Leeds fans, we have not had much of that. Who's left as a hero since Gary Kelly?
Ooh.
And that's 2006.
I think the closest you get would be Beckford.
Yeah.
And
Beckford.
And the way the other players have all left has been, Beckford was moving on to better things, but he left in the most heroic fashion by scoring to take us up. Everyone else after that was just, I'm sick of playing in this mediocre championship team. I'm going to the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm putting in a transfer request and publicly telling everyone I want to leave. Whereas although Pablo Hernandez has technically got another year on his contract, but he wants to go home to be with his family in Spain because He hasn't got to see them all year and he's got a third kid on the way. Yeah, fine. See ya. Thanks for everything. You've been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's what this was more about today. But it was a good performance, good win. Rodrigo from a Rafinha corner, which again was aimed at Berardi. Berardi missed it by an inch and it went through to back post where Rodrigo scored.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't even remember our second goal.
Calvin Phillips free
Calvin
kick.
Phillips.
Oh yeah, free kick. Awful goalkeeping from Sam Johnston. Oh,
terrible.
Yeah,
you know when you're trying to get into an England squad, don't do that.
You know what else you shouldn't do if you try to get into an England squad for the Euros? Go flying in with a crunching tackle in the 94th minute. Because Calvin Phillips, who, West Brom's goal was Calvin Phillips' fault. He's barely made a mistake all season. He miscontrolled the ball, let it run under his foot, and they scored. But if you're going to do that, that wasn't a bad time to do it. Game over, last game of the season, don't matter. But he was annoyed at himself and he went flying into a tackle, won the ball clean as a sheet, really good tackle. And by the looks of it, might have dislocated his shoulder doing it. And if he has, that's him missing the Euros. Calvin Phillips. It really didn't look good at the end. He was out for a few weeks, maybe a month or so earlier this season. He got thrown on his shoulder by Raul Jimenez when we played Wolves at Ellen Road. And it popped his shoulder out and he was out for a few weeks. And this was the same shoulder. So I'm just really hoping that he's going to be okay for Euros because he's had such a good season and it'd be such a shame if he missed it.
If I could give some advice to Gareth Southgate, though, with this, I would say that the alternative to that is if you move Robin Koch into that holding midfield role, and then we get Stuart Dallas. Let's have, Luke Ayling can move into centre back, and we'll have Stuart Dallas at right back. Yeah, or Jamie Shackleton, whichever you want to do, Gareth. I'm not too pushy.
Well, we should definitely pick Stuart Dallas for England. After all, he is Leeds born. We know this.
Got a comment here from Brad. Leeds are the best. Fuck the rest.
Yes, I agree.
It were also nice to see Patrick Bamford get a goal in front of the fans as well after the incredible season that he's had for goal scoring anyway.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. I think that's 17 league goals, which in a newly promoted side is pretty good. If the England squad is now going to be 26, I think there's a very, very, very strong argument for picking him because you can pick an extra forward. Yeah. It's why I really wanted him to get a call up for that San Marino game because then he'd be the man in possession. I think that Kane, Calvert-Lewin and then Bamford have probably been the three this season. And Calvert-Lewin has dropped off like mad the last 3 months.
Yeah, he didn't look on it today.
And at around the time of Ollie Watkins getting the call up, Villa have since been on a pretty poor run as well.
Yeah. They were good today, though.
Well, Jack Grealish was back.
Yeah, true.
Not that I want to say they're a one-man team or anything, but they have been terrible since he got injured.
I'm just going to mention, the Daily Mirror isn't a great paper, but David Anderson is a proper journalist. He just tweeted 4 minutes ago that the deal is agreed. We kind of knew that this was close anyway, but he's saying that Bielsa has agreed a new 12-month deal in principle, and the announcement is expected this week. That's the first time anyone's put a time frame on it. So hopefully that gets sorted, because the second that gets sorted, Leeds fans can stop having panic attacks.
You can breathe. Another comment from Brad. Leeds to win the league next season. Actually, maybe second.
I'll take second.
Well, it's sort of the cyclical nature of football. Last time when we got promoted, we won the league in the second season. So there's a lot of people saying, we're going to do it again. We're not. Of course we're not. But, why not? It's more likely than when Leicester won it.
Yeah, true. But a team that's in a good shout to win the league next season, Fulham might win the championship, but they got beat 2-0 today by Newcastle.
They're not winning the championship next season.
Not with the squad they're going to have left.
Half of them have left, and most of the good players are on loan. They're not winning it next season.
Yeah, but they're not opposed to throwing money, are they?
That's true. Them getting beat again. I just saw the highlights of this. Nice to see Joe Willock score again. if this tournament was in a normal, if the Euros were in a normal season, you know where there'd be a squad and a few warm-up games.
Yeah,
I'd be saying Willock should get called up and have a look at him in the friendlies. He scored in 7 games in a row. He's been a brilliant player from this. If you were picking purely on form, he should probably get in the squad. But you're not going to turn out your midfield and throw him in now without enough warm-up games to bed him in. So it's not going to happen, but there is an argument for it.
Yeah, it does seem strange that we're announcing our squad this Tuesday, then doing the 2 friendlies, then going to the Euros. But yeah, Joe Willock and then Fabian Schär with an 88th minute penalty, sending Fulham down in style. And manager of the month Steve Bruce does it again.
Yeah, Newcastle have finished 12th. And how the hell that's happened, I have absolutely no idea. There was a decent amount of time in this season where they were the second worst team in this league, just above Sheffield United. They were higher in the league than that, but there was a long period where they were that bad. And in fairness, they have finished the season very strongly. I think that Steve Bruce hasn't... I would now say he's been upgraded to doing a below-average job. Whereas for most of the season, he was doing a rubbish job. But he has been held. It does show just how important Callum Wilson and Alan Saint-Maximin are to them. Because as soon as they've come back, they've gone from being an awful side to being a competent side.
Yeah, Joe Willock's been a fantastic signing for them. I don't think they've got any hope of keeping him. But Joe Willock has certainly done himself no harm, either in the eyes of Mikel Arteta or putting himself in the shop window.
I would think they'll play him next season, surely.
Do you think they'll play him? Because
by looks of things, they should have played him this season.
Well, they did a little bit.
There's been points where Smith Rowe's looked absolute quality for Arsenal, and they keep dropping him and chopping and changing their midfield. I still don't think Arteta knows what his best 11 is. And he's had, a season and a half now?
I think the problem there is as well that Smith Rowe came into that team it was either the very end of December or early January and played pretty well. And at that time, I think the wheels were already in motion for them to sign Odegaard. Which, don't get me wrong, if I'm choosing one or the other, I'm probably choosing Odegaard. But, I think it was harsh timing for Smith Rowe for someone to come in and essentially go, this is my place now.
Yeah, I just want to correct something I said earlier, actually. When I was going through the top 10, I did not realise Arsenal have won the last 5.
Have they?
Yeah. I did not realise that. I knew they'd had a decent run at the end of the season, but I didn't realise they'd won the last 5. Fair enough, that is a good end to the season.
Yeah, speaking of Arsenal, their 2-0 win over Brighton today, Nicola Pepe scoring twice. I don't know what it is. I don't like Arsenal, but I quite like Pepe. I want him to be one of those players that does well because he's had so much shit thrown at him for being a £17 million player that's just not quite been what everyone expected. He doesn't get to choose the price tag. Arsenal threw money at Lille and they agreed it, but he's shown glimpses of why he's worth that much.
He also headbutted Gianni Alioski for no reason.
Headbutt is a strong term. And 2, if you're marking Alioski, I'm sure he'll have done something to wind him up.
Just stood behind him going, no.
He'll lick him. He'll lick
his finger in his ear, just go, wet willy. By the way, that does make it quite funny, though, that Arsenal have had a run like that and have still missed out on Europe.
I think it might be a good thing for Arsenal to not have any European games next season. It's not going to be good for them financially. And it's not good for UEFA, with that fine that they've got to pay for the Super League, which is a certain percentage of your European money for next season. So 0 then. But it might, it happened with Chelsea when they had that really bad season. The next season when they didn't have any European games, it really benefited the league form. And I don't think
Yeah.
Arsenal are going to do out stupid, like suddenly challenge for the title, but I think that it will help them next season.
Yeah, some of that I saw. If Spurs had lost today, Arsenal would have finished above Spurs for the first time since 2014, which seems like a hell of a long time.
With the way this season's gone, if Leicester would have done the job and Arsenal had finished above Spurs, that would have been hilarious. Because Arsenal have been a joke all season. And there was a point this season where there was a lot of people saying Spurs were going to win the league. And if they'd have managed to end up finishing above them, that would have been properly hilarious.
So moving on to Man City versus Everton. Everton really went into this game having to play for their Europa League spot and somehow managed to finish just inside the top half. City 5, Everton 0.
Yeah, this was obviously, again, on the highlights, but this was one-way traffic. Other than the penalty, which Ederson saved well, one-way traffic. And I'm really pleased that Aguero scored. And he ended up getting 2. But I was really pleased when he scored because he has been one of the best strikers in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah, with those 2 goals, he breaks Wayne Rooney's record of being the top scorer for a single club in the Premier League ever.
Yeah.
Good.
Fuck off.
Yep.
But
well, Wayne Rooney should have started banging on about wanting his team to not be like Leeds, and then I wouldn't have such an issue with him.
Do you think it's weird that Barcelona
Yes.
have agreed to? Okay. Barcelona have agreed terms with a 32-year-old Sergio Aguero on a 2-year deal after selling Suarez for €6 million in the summer because he was too old at 32.
Well, they haven't got any money to spend on transfer fees. They're going to have to take out a loan just to cover his wages. Because we're also bringing in Memphis Depay on a free, aren't they, by the sounds of it?
By the looks of it. And, they tried Wijnaldum as well.
Yeah, it is an odd move. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does over there. I think he'll do well. But it is a bit of an odd transfer strategy. And they are so good that they've always got a chance of winning things with just the squad they've got and with Messi. But they have been terribly run over the last 5 or 6 years in particular of Barcelona. So it's a signing that reeks of short-term thinking, but that's what they do.
I mean, it's quite funny seeing them having to bring in, a player the age of Aguero when, again, they'd said to Suarez, you're too old, but they're still struggling with and it's same with Real Madrid. There are 2 teams that are struggling with the average age of their team. Essentially, what Barcelona need to do is bring in Leeds' under-23s, bed them in for the seat, get Eddie Gray in to manage the kids. No, I mean, he'll still be on very good wages, but I can see why you'd have Aguero around just to come off the bench for 20 minutes.
And he's also probably mates with Messi, and Messi basically decides what happens at that club.
And then Messi leaves.
Well, it's pretty much confirmed he is going to stay and extend.
Aguero can teach Matt and Brathwaite, a few things.
While we're on the subject of Spain as well, they had a lovely dramatic finish yesterday. Real Madrid trying as hard as they could to get themselves out of winning the league, and they succeeded.
Well, Real Madrid did manage to win their game in the end. They did what they needed to do. It's just that Atletico Madrid did what they needed to do. And it is always funny, as much as I don't really have a dog in this fight, that Barcelona binned off Luis Suarez because he was too old and they wanted rid of him, and he's gone to Atletico Madrid, scored a load of goals, and they've won the league with him scoring the winner. Perfect.
Yeah.
I will say, there's a lot to be said about Luis Suarez as a footballer. Some of the comments I've seen about Luis Suarez as a person, you do need to remind people that he has twice been banned for biting people and also got done for racist abuse.
Yeah. I'm not going to cheer him on as a person, but he has been a hell of a footballer.
But Liverpool were very upset at the T-shirts Leeds wore when we said that you had to earn getting in the Champions League. But they're very quiet defending the shirts they wore supporting a racist.
So yeah, moving on. we'll come back to speaking about other leagues and a few other bits of news because we'll fly through these final few games. Sheffield United won, Burnley 0. David McGoldrick scoring a goal from 25 yards. Curling effort, bounced into corner.
Good finish. It says a lot that Burnley have started playing Will Norris in goal because even they've realised now that Bailey Peacock-Farrell is completely useless. I don't even think Sheffield United and Burnley fans will have watched this.
Yeah, it looks weird now looking at the table. Sheffield United was relegated month and a bit ago, and then now only they finished the season only 3 points behind West Brom. Like they've had a good run towards the end.
Yeah, I've just realised Leeds fans, because we're very paranoid and stuff. There was a lot of people spending a lot of time worrying about Fulham and West Brom going on a run and catching us and us getting relegated. And between them, they've got 54 points and we've got 59. It just shows how much damage has been done to the collective psyche of Leeds fans. But we were still worrying about them in like March, some fans. And it was over by that point.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's said that Sheffield United have had a terrible season. They've still got more points than the United Kingdom did in the Eurovision.
Yeah, but, were we expecting many votes off Europe after the last couple of years?
So moving on, Wolves 1, Man United 2. Lovely goal to see Alanga get a goal in the first half. Nice cross, good header.
Still don't know who he is.
You might never see him again.
It's just some lad. He's like on Football Manager. He's like on Football Manager when your squad's short with injuries. He's one of the greyed out players that just auto inserts into your squad. That's what he is.
He will be one of those players that he scored on final game of the season, and if you ever want to see him again, go watch Preston in the Championship.
Yeah, the brief bit I've seen of him from the couple of games he's played, he does look like a pretty good player. But I don't know anything about him. Is that Juan Mata scored on his final game?
Yes.
Well, Juan Mata is a nice enough person that I can be pleased for him and still not have wanted him to win the game.
Yeah, and if English fans do miss Juan Mata that much, you can go check him out on his YouTube channel. I'm sure he'll find some club in Spain that'll happily take him back.
Well, what I want is Pablo Hernandez is almost certainly going to his hometown club, which is Castellón, which is near Valencia. So I'm hoping Juan Mata goes there with him. And they can both just rip it up for a team that neither of them should really be at.
And then the final game to talk about, West Ham 3, Southampton 0, and West Ham clinching 6th and getting European football for next season. And there's still some West Ham fans that are kicking off about them finishing as low as 6th.
Yeah, this isn't like Leicester, where Leicester probably should have done better than they have from the position they got into. West Ham got into a great position, but it was unbelievable that they were doing that well. They regressed towards their average. Them finishing 6th is a fantastic achievement. Like David Moyes has done a ridiculously good job.
Yeah.
West Ham fans abroad.
Not again.
Green Street on tour.
2 goals from Pablo Fornals and then a second half goal from Declan Rice.
Do you think that this might allow them to keep hold of Declan Rice?
What, European football?
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea aren't going to take him. If they don't win Champions League, he might as well stay there and just play. No, because Chelsea did get top 4.
Yeah.
Chelsea might take him then.
Is it what I'm trying to think through of the Champions League clubs? Because I think on the whole there will be less spending this summer. Is Declan Rice the main thing that any of those top 4 clubs really needs?
I mean, Man United could really do with him, to be honest, because he walks.
They'll be throwing money at Harry Kane though.
Yeah, he walks into that midfield too ahead of Fred and McTominay. But
walks in ahead of Fred.
Yeah, he wouldn't be what anyone's number 1 target is, I don't think.
I think if you're Chelsea, you do what you do every year and you sign a replacement striker for the striker you signed the year before, and then you just end up playing Olivier Giroud for a while. If you're Liverpool, maybe sign a backup defender now. I know you signed a couple, but buy an actual defender.
I'll tell you what, if they were willing to spend the money, Rice would make a good centre back for Liverpool.
Yeah, and then having the
style
ability
they play.
Yeah, then having the ability to interchange him and Fabinho between midfield and defence would be quite useful for their squad.
I don't think they're going to get him. Haven't they pretty much signed Konate? Isn't that pretty much? Yeah. Yeah, so if they're getting Matip and Jota Gomez and Van Dijk back from injury, and they've got Konate, they're not going to sign anyone else.
No, and Paul Nat Phillips, who's had a decent season, doesn't see the Premier League again.
Yeah, definitely.
Get him on Lance Trout here. Keep him local.
So we'll turn our attention to the Saturday, mainly because Championship playoff semi-final second legs. We'll talk about the Swansea Barnsley game first. Swansea 1-0 up on aggregate, ended up drawing this game 1-1, but does see Swansea go through to the playoff final. I think it was one of those things. It was a bit too good to be true to see Barnsley get to the playoff final, but what an incredible run they've been on this season. Yeah,
they're interesting, Barnsley. There's a lot of data-driven recruitment. Won't spend money on anyone over 24, I think, is their rule. They've really pushed it. Their football is weird to watch because it's like launching it route one going forward half the time, but really high Gegen pressing going forward. So it's an interesting side to watch. They're not like anyone really. They've done really well to get to where they are, but over the 2 legs, I did watch both legs. Swansea were the better side.
Yeah, and then the other game, which I kind of want to talk about because this game was so frustrating for the first 15, 20 minutes. Brentford 3, Bournemouth 1. Bournemouth go 1-0 up inside 5 minutes. Means they're 2-0 up on aggregate. And then they just decide to time waste from the 5th minute going onwards. There's a picture of David Brooks being fouled and then on the floor shushing someone in the first half. But Brentford came back, 1-3-1. Ivan Toney with a penalty. Marcus Voss scored the 3rd goal, and I'm going to say Janet. I'm not 100% sure.
Janelt, I think it is.
Yeah. But you also see Begovic basically rugby tackle him for the ball afterwards, after the penalty.
Yeah. Well, Begovic lost his mind in this game all the way through. Like, anyone out there who's watched American football will be aware of the butt fumble, where the quarterback got the ball and turned and ran into his own lineman's arse and dropped the ball. Begovic did that on the corner. He just ran forward into his teammate and fell over. And he really lost his head. I put some money on him at one point to get sent off because I was just watching him and thinking he was going to. Bournemouth will be absolutely fuming because they had this and just let it slip. They were set up perfectly to counter. They'd got the early goal with one of the most naive... the only other time I've seen it happen, have a corner, leave no one back early in the game and they just go through and score, was when Man United conceded against Istanbul Bahakshakir when Demba Ba scored in the Champions League. And they just left no one back, ran through and scored 2-0. Right, you've got a 2-0 lead. You're basically set to go at Wembley, just not stupid. And then he's a good player, generally speaking, but Chris Mepham, to take that much time, then miscontrol the ball, then lose it under pressure, then foul him to get yourself sent off. I mean, it's 4 mistakes in no time whatsoever. As much as it's instinct, once he's lost the ball, his instinct just grabs him and pulls him down. But it'd have been much better letting him go clean through. Even if he'd scored, they would have been in a better position. Because as soon as I went down to 10 men, they did not get another kick all game. It was
no.
What I think is the problem, because you said that Bournemouth have let it slip, is that the issue with Chris Mepham was that his knees were weak and his arms were heavy.
So it means that we have Brentford versus Swansea to see who takes the final place in the Premier League next season, alongside Norwich and Watford. News from around the other leagues. We'll have a playoff final of Lincoln City versus Blackpool to see who goes into the Championship.
I think I've got Blackpool for that.
I'll tell you who's really not happy. Sunderland fans.
Yeah.
Another year.
And then
is this their 4th year in League One?
Yes, and I believe this is the 4th year that I have, this is the 3rd year that I have predicted that they would get promoted. But I also predicted they get promoted from the Championship as well.
Morecambe and Tranmere drew 1-1 today, which means Morecambe have taken their place in the playoff final for League Two. And it's currently Forest Green Rovers 2, Newport 0, and that's 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, I'd forgot that was on, to be honest. I literally just saw it on BBC website and flicked it on in the background when I saw it was level.
News from around the world. Obviously, we've already spoke about Atletico Madrid winning the league on the final day of the season. It also means that Eibar, Huesca, and I'm going to butcher this, Valladolid. Yeah, they have finished. They've all been relegated.
For you to say Malaga.
They've all been relegated. In the Bundesliga, Lewandowski broke the goal record, broke Gerd Muller's goal record, and scored 42 goals in one season. And they've won 9 in a row now, so there's no shocks there.
Yeah, the thing that's ridiculous with that is, because of injuries, he's only played like 28 games or something. And it's like 1.4 goals a game or something stupid. It's a ridiculous, ridiculous level of goal scoring. Even in a team that is streets ahead of the rest of the league, that is absolutely unreal. And that is 3-0 Forest Green, 3-2 on aggregate.
Timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haaland's 40 goals this season does sound good, but to do 42 in just one competition is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Serie A was already set up. Inter Milan won that quite a while ago, and the rest of the games are taking place today. We could see no Juventus in the Champions League next season if Napoli and AC Milan pull out a win today.
Yeah. And I don't know if you got on your list, but 8 o'clock tonight, it's the final day of Ligue 1.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. Ligue 1, Lille are top with a point between them and PSG. They're in contention, but Monaco aren't going to win the league. They have a 6 worst goal difference, and they'd have to have PSG and both Lille lose.
Yeah, Lille and PSG need to lose, and Monaco need to win well, so that's unlikely. But hopefully Lille win and win the league, because it would be good for French football for PSG to not win it.
Yeah, and so as the domestic leagues finish, we head towards our delayed Euros. Most of the big teams have already announced their squads. We've had some eye-raising inclusions. Germany, who have brought Mats Hummels and Thomas Muller back after the 2018 World Cup, they'll never play for the international side again. Took that back quite quick.
At least you're picking someone on form. If you're gonna take a striker that you said's a bit too old for it, at least he's gone and smashed in a load of goals this season.
Yeah, it probably does help that it's a 26-man squad that you can take this season.
Yeah.
And the big one of Karim Benzema being included in the French squad for the first time since 2015.
For French are just showing off, really. Their squad is just insane. Their under-21 squad would be about 5th favourites for the Euros. It's absolutely unreal. And the only thing that you could really say about their squad was, well, Giroud is getting on a bit. And that he's their main striker because Mbappe will play isn't really an out-and-out striker. Griezmann's not really an out-and-out striker. So for out-and-out strikers, they've only got one. Maybe they're a bit short. They'll just bring Benzema back in from the cold. Who is, one of the 3 best centre-forwards in Europe. Obviously, he's an arsehole based on the reason that he wasn't playing was all the blackmail stuff and things like that. But he's a hell of a footballer, and I've said it before on here, I can't look past France for the winners.
See, I think there's just that hoodoo behind you win the World Cup, the next tournament that you play in, you just have a shocker. It's happened to Germany, it happened to Spain. I can't see them doing it back to back to back.
I was going to say, it didn't happen to Spain. Didn't Spain win back-to-back Euros and World Cup?
Yeah, and
World Cup and Euros.
And it's a completely different generation of players. But after France won the World Cup in '98, I believe they won the Euros in 2000.
Now it's World Cup. Now 2002 World Cup. Then they fell to pieces.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just the World Cups then that's a thing from. But I don't know. Lloris hasn't filled me with confidence this season, and Mandanda, I know when he was at Crystal Palace, he didn't have a great defence in front of him, but is it just off reputation from playing in the French league so long that he's been called up again?
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, Lloris is never going to get. He does seem to do. I know he dropped that bollock in World Cup final, but it didn't matter. He's got such a strong reputation, but he's never going to get dropped. I mean, the thing that shows the goalkeeping depth for France is Alban Lafont and Ilan Meslier are both in the under-21 squad. If 2 English keepers were doing what they were doing, both of them would be in the senior squad comfortably.
Yeah, me and Jack were earlier talking about with Pope being out for the Euros, like who's your 3rd choice keeper? And I know it's ultimately a role that doesn't really matter much. But you were looking at Sam Johnson, Alex McCarthy, Fraser Forster. Like, they're not inspiring options.
No. You've really got nobody to pick. It seems to be
I'd rather us just go with 2. I think,
you're not allowed.
I know, but can we not just say... I'd rather us take Phil Jagielka, because I'm not calling him Jagielka now. Sod it. And just say, look, he is our designated 3rd choice. Yeah. Just do what Neil Warnock did. It's fine. Get an extra player in that way.
Can we just take Nick Pope anywhere?
Just take him on one leg.
Take Will Norris.
I mean, it's 3rd choice. It wouldn't really matter. I would, to be honest, at 3rd choice, if there is a 17-year-old keeper or an 18-year-old keeper that they really like, who's playing for the 21s or something, I'd take them just to give them some experience. They're not going to play.
Yeah. So, ahead of our squad being announced on Tuesday, is there any notable absentees that you think will get left out? People that there's been quite a few names that have been thrown around for the midfield. Like, do you think James Maddison gets in?
I think Trent misses out. He shouldn't.
He shouldn't, but he might.
Why are you only are you taking 2 right backs or 3 right backs then?
5 right backs, and he still doesn't go.
I think Southgate will take Reece James. He'll take Kyle Walker.
Kieran Trippier.
And I think he'll take Trippier.
Yeah.
Like in our defence, I think he's gonna
7.
It might be.
I think because of the trust he has in him, which he kind of talked about in the last squad, I think Eric Dyer will go for this tournament. I don't think he should.
God. I said this on Twitter like last week, and I meant it, and I still stand by it. If England were picking a squad of 100 players, Eric Dyer would not get in. It wouldn't.
Well, there's 74 right backs to accommodate in that squad. To be fair,
yeah. It won't get close. I don't think James Maddison will go. I'm really hoping Bellingham does, because he should. There's a chance Sancho won't, and if Sancho doesn't go, there is something seriously wrong. I think that Sterling's going to end up starting, despite being not in anywhere near enough form to be starting. But I think he will, just because Southgate trusts him.
What's your for England? What's your front 3? Like your 2 wide men and your striker. I think that the striker is obviously Harry Kane.
Yeah, it's tough because there's a few that are all in really good form, but I think probably Sancho on the right and Rashford on the left, or it depends who you're playing, because I'd either have Rashford on the left and Foden as one of the midfield, or Foden on the left if he's not playing in midfield.
Yeah, my starting front 3 would be Kane, Sancho, Foden on the left, Mason Mount in the cam role just behind.
Yeah, that's the thing. Either Foden plays where Mount plays, or he plays on the left. I think he's got to be in the starting lineup because he just looks. It's not just how good he's been; it's that he seems to be getting better every game at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you can pick apart my Euro squad if you want, because I've got it up at the moment.
I was just going to say, I do not have one to hand. I haven't planned it out.
No, it's fine. We'll just go through this one, and if you want to read it and read the reasons why, you can go to WTBdotcom and read that article yourself. But the 3 goalkeepers that I did pick were Nick Pope, Dean Henderson, and Sam Johnson. But as we know, Nick Pope's no longer going to be in the squad.
Well, there's no point going through this now. You've just delegitimised your entire squad.
Yeah.
No, because I did say I think it's a toss-up between Sam Johnson and Jordan Pickford to who takes that 3rd spot. So instead, they'll just take Jordan Pickford and Sam Johnson instead.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Pickford's going to be number 1. Again, for the same reason. Even if he isn't the most informed keeper, Southgate trusts him, and he is good with his feet, and that's important.
He might be number 1 in jersey numbers, but I don't think he starts.
Oh, he definitely does now. Pope's injured. Pope was the only one with a chance of displacing him. Dean Henderson's not doing it.
I reckon he'll throw Dean Henderson in.
Nah.
Right back, I've gone with Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, and Trent. I did want to put Reece James in, but I think that option of having Trent playing as a wing back and having his passing range, I think is too much of a clinical thing for us.
I think because I would pick Reece James, and if I was going to drop one, and it's not because he isn't good enough. If I was going to drop one, it'd probably be Trippier. But Southgate's not going to do that because he loves him.
And he's had a great season.
There's an argument to not take Walker. Kyle Walker's been in and out this season.
The reason I'm sure they'll take Walker is because he likes him at right back and he likes him on the right side of the back 3. So I can't see him not going.
That was my reasoning for including him, that he can play in a back 3.
I mean, if you want a really good right back that's also a really good centre back and is English and is in really good form, you actually want Luke Ayling. And I'm not actually kidding.
Your man knows. Man knows.
Centre backs, I've gone with Harry Maguire, John Stones, Tyrone Mings, and Connor Cody. I know Harry Maguire's up in the air whether he's going to be fit enough or not. I've picked 4 because I think with 26-man squad, I think Connor Cody just sneaks in.
Just try to think who else it could be, to be honest. I mean, if everyone's fit, it will be Stones and Maguire, you would think. From what I've seen of Maguire, I don't think he is going to be fit.
No.
Based on the updates and stuff. Mings is decent, but he hasn't been as good this season. He's been a bit error prone lately.
The other one that was in contention for me was Michael Keane.
Yeah, he's all right, but it isn't very inspiring, is it?
I was thinking about this the other day for the centre backs, and it kind of falls off a cliff after Maguire and Stones. Like I do feel at that point it's a real step down.
I'll tell you who's the one that isn't getting talked about at all. Definitely won't go, and I'm not even going to pretend that I've actually seen enough to comment personally. But everyone that's been watching a load of Italian football says that Tomori has been absolutely quality for AC Milan.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard his name mentioned once in contention for the squad. And Tomori has been really, really good by all accounts.
Did Chris Smalling retire from international football? Not that I know how he's got on at Roma since, but
the same way.
Just as someone who is playing at a decent standard.
I don't think he's outright retired, but I still don't think he's in contention of taking that spot. 2 left backs, of course, I've gone with Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Then midfield, I've lumped them all together. So, gone Phil Foden, Eric Dyer because he's Southgate's boy.
Yeah, he probably will, but no.
Calvin Phillips.
Hopefully his shoulder's okay.
Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Mason Mount. James Maddison. And Jesse Lingard.
There are not enough defensive midfielders in there.
Yeah, by the standards of Southgate.
There's 3, 4 maybe if Bellingham drops back.
Yeah, I would definitely take Bellingham. I just think he's absolutely quality.
We've got a comment here from Washi. It says, do you think Curtis Jones will eventually make it into the England squad? He's better than Dyer in the middle.
I'd say Curtis Jones is also a very different player to Eric Dyer, but I do like Curtis Jones. The times I've seen him play, he is very attacking, very creative. I think the problem for him at the moment is that he is in contention with a lot of very good players.
Yeah.
You talk about someone who is, can play wide, but I've seen the best of him playing through the middle, and is in contention with Mount, Foden, Maddison. So Lingard at the moment's been playing through there. So there's a lot of competition in that area.
Yeah, like you said Maddison there, Alex, and I don't think I'd take Maddison because I'm definitely taking Grealish.
Yeah, Grealish, another one.
I've opted with Maddison because I think he's had more game time towards the back end of the season. I do think Grealish is someone that, if Grealish goes, I don't think it's Maddison that drops out. I think it's Lingard that drops out of that side.
Yeah.
But
the other one that's probably worth discussion of for centre mid, it's a bit. He would never start, but it's quite a good option in the squad. Is Ward-Prowse?
I originally had him in and I took him out when I remembered about Jesse Lingard.
Yeah. For all of this, by the way, I'm assuming Jordan Henderson's not going to be fit. I know he hasn't played any football, but if he's fit, he goes.
Well, timing again, Washi. Hendo was on the bench for Liverpool today.
I didn't even realise he'd been on the bench. If he's fit enough to play, he goes. Because he's the right sort of character for it, even though you wouldn't have known it from the stuff he's said in the press this week where he's been a moron.
Yeah, I think if, in all honesty, I'd drop Eric Dyer and take Jordan Henderson. Even though Dyer's basically played all this season, I'd rather take Jordan Henderson with the lack of match fitness.
Sorry, Newport have just made it 3-3 on aggregate with an absolute screamer, like a lobbed left foot curling finish from who must be about 45 years old, Kevin Ellison. It was a great goal as well.
And then...
Wait, I've just looked it up. Kevin Ellison is an English professional footballer who plays for League Two side Newport County. He is 42.
Jesus.
And it's an absolute... Oh my God, that is such a good goal.
And then the attack. I've gone with Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Raheem Sterling, Calvert-Lewin, and Saka.
In a 26-man squad, Saka, I think, gets in because he covers you in a lot of bases, and he's a good player. All of them are fairly good options. Who have you actually got that are central strikers there other than Kane? Because Rashford isn't.
Kane, Calvert-Lewin.
I think that'll be what happens. There is bias involved in this, but God, I want Bamford to go. But he won't. It'll be... I think it probably will be those two.
Yeah, well... The thing is, with our attacking line, you think Jadon Sancho can play left or right. Rashford can play left or through the middle. Sterling can play left or right. Saka can play left back, right back, fucking centre mid. And then you've just got Harry Kane.
Yeah. It's one place where we are blessed with a lot of options. There's probably 10 that I'd be okay with.
And our attacking lineup still looks shite compared to France.
Yeah, but everyone's does.
He's the one you mentioned is and someone I've banged the drum for a lot this season. I think it'd be criminal if Bukayo Saka doesn't go. I absolutely love Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, Washi with another comment saying Ollie Watkins.
Nice.
Ollie Watkins is
that's
a good player. Genuinely, obviously, I do have a bias. I really would have Bamford over Watkins this season. But Watkins is a really good player. If we're going to take an extra one as just a pure centre-forward, Watkins probably would get the nod because he got called up last time.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't get it from me. I'd pick Bamford.
Just pick Pat.
I'd like to see Bamford go and, get that game in the group stages when we've already qualified and it doesn't really matter.
God, someone's optimistic about England's performances. This tournament's going to be weird because everyone's going to be knackered.
Yeah. But I reckon we can, from our group, everyone's worried about Croatia, and I think the hardest game that we'll have is Scotland, because when Scotland play us, they just step up.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think he'll go, but there is one name that we missed off from the midfield options, just because he is now back playing, Dele Alli.
There's a reason why we missed him off.
Yeah, but he's certainly good enough.
See, out of the Tottenham midfielders, the one that I think has been thrown around a lot is Harry Winks, but I don't think Harry Winks is good enough to be in that England midfield.
No, he's one that could benefit from this Phillips injury if he wants another deep sitting midfielder to go.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed Calvin Phillips isn't as injured as first feared.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get our fix of speaking about the England squad next week. Because next week we'll have the full 26-man squad to, berate Gareth Southgate of why he's not taken Luke Ayling. We'll also have the Europa League final and the Champions League final to talk about. And then we'll take a bit of a break ahead of the Euros.
So, 2 weeks.
Yeah, lovely 2-week break of, pointless friendlies because they've not played enough football already.
Yeah. Alex, before I forget, I need to plug something. The Roaring Peacock, which is one of our fellow Leeds United podcasts, have organised a 24-hour live stream raising money for the NHS charities together. Like just all of them, big group. We did a shift earlier today from 1 till 2. There's loads involved. It's on, if you go onto YouTube, the channel is The Roaring Peacock, and it's all on there. They started at midday today, UK time. They're going till midday tomorrow. We're not going to raise loads, but we try to raise like £1,000 for the NHS. It's been set up by Adonis, who's at the Adelites on Twitter. He's a nice bloke. We would love for any of you, Leeds fan or not, to stop by the stream. And if you can afford to, if you could go to justgiving.com/livestream for life. It's where, anything big or small that you can do would be much appreciated. I know that it's been going since 12. I know it's going quite well. And so if anyone's got a spare couple of quid, if anyone last day at football season won a nice accumulator and can afford to chuck a £5 in or something, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you go check that out, guys. I'm just going to play a quick video of all the live streams that happen here on the Buzz, and then we'll be out on our way. So check this video out.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by a locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look with the top dish. Tie game through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot quick.
Yeah, that's the running order for all the live videos on the Buzz. If you want to check them out, it's at WTBdotcom on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you want to see more of Jack and KC, make sure you check out their Leeds United-based podcast at Mighty Whites Pod. They live stream onto Facebook, Twitter, and onto YouTube. And you can get their audio version everywhere other than Acast.
Damn straight.
Damn Acast.
So we won't have a lot to talk. Well, we'll have a bit to talk about, but it'll probably be quite a short episode next week, and then we'll get a lovely 2-week break ahead of the Euros, and then we'll be doing a few Euro specials for all the England games.
Cool. Sounds good to me, mate. And I believe that once this is done, me and Casey are off to the pub.
Yes.
Enjoy. So, guys, make sure that you tune in next Sunday for the England squad review and the Europa League and Champions League final review as well. There's been Jack and KC from the Mighty Whites podcast.
In a bit.
What's up?
I've been Alex from the Buzz. Make sure that you check us out